Hey guys, thanks so much for checking us out. We are talking about rumors of God, and tonight we are talking about rumors of grace. See, there's a rumor going around that we are saved by our faith through grace. And that's a rumor that we want to identify as a lie, because that is definitely putting the cart before the horse. In Rumors of Grace, we're going to talk about how salvation by grace through faith is so much greater than being saved by faith through grace. Now, I know that might look choppy and complicated, but that top tier phrase and statement is what's recorded by the Apostle Paul when he writes to the Ephesians church. And that's the doctrine. That's the statement that we want to stamp and keep sealing into the depths of our souls. Because we get it twisted. I get it twisted. And in my bad days, I end up thinking that I'm saved by my faith. And my faith is going to earn my grace. And my friends, it's a trap. So let's look at Ephesians 2:8 together. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Now, what I hope you don't hear me saying is that we don't need faith. We absolutely need faith. But what we want to realize is if there is any faith alive in our life, that is because God has operated already in His grace. I would never have faith in God without seeing the grace of God. And it would be wrong of me to think that my faith in God was going to earn this grace and acceptance by God, when really it's just my faith responding to the gesture that He's offering. Faith, just to really, simplify it as much as I can, faith is a belief that leads to a behavior. So if I have faith in something, it's going to shape the way I behave. Like if I have faith that I'm a really strong swimmer, but I won't go in the ocean, I won't go in a lake, pond, you won't even catch me in a kiddie pool, you'd be like, Mike, I don't think you have faith that you're a good swimmer. Because if you did, you'd be in the water. Or if I told you, you know what, my favorite food is Mexican food. And then you were like, hey, where you want to go out to eat? And I'm like, oh, let's go get Italian. And every time we talk, I'm like, oh, I'm craving Italian. Be like, bro, why does it say that your favorite food's Mexican food? What you're saying and what you believe about yourself isn't matching your behavior. And the same thing happens with Jesus. Right? If I say I love Christ, I have faith in Jesus, I'm a son of God, I'm a Christian, if I use any of this language, and my life continually looks like not Jesus, you might look at me and be like, Mike, you sure you love Jesus? Because I'm having a hard time seeing that. I know I can't see everything that you believe in your heart, but what you believe impacts your actions, and I can see how you live and walk and talk and act. So I know for me personally, some of the moments I've grieved the most in life was a time that I did something, I said something, I regretted something because I was like, man, that does not look like Jesus. And I tell these people I love Jesus. And then I did that, or I said that. And those are really, really hard moments. Here's what we're trying to establish. I don't want anyone to think that our salvation is totally dependent on our faith. Because again, my faith is something inside of me, and often it connects to my behavior. So if my salvation is built on my faith, man, that thing can be rocky. There can be some good days where I feel like I believe a lot. There can be some bad days where I feel like, do I believe it all? But our salvation is built on the grace of God. And when my faith fails, like honestly, too often it does, I stand on a solid foundation of Jesus' work in His grace. And that is the Christian life, right? That is what we're trying to point to. And when we get it twisted, my friends, because I've gotten it twisted so many times that I thought God loved me because of what I was doing. It's just not our best spot to be. So one pastor said it like this: grace creates the conditions for faith. Faith cannot create the conditions for grace. If God was not graciously redeeming his people, all the faith we could muster in the world would not mean anything. God is always initiating. God is always inviting. We are always responding. We don't want to lose that. Now, God's grace and God's mercy and God's richness is what makes it able. Those are the high, that's that beautiful language that makes Christianity appealing and drawing, because we're like, wow, this is really all about God. So when the rumors kick around that we have to be good enough, when the rumors kick around that we got to believe enough, we want to identify that as a lie and say, no, like I'm building everything I am inside of me on the perfect work of Jesus Christ. I know I'm probably going a little longer than I'd like to, but there's a story in Luke 15. If you've been around Christianity, you've heard it. It's called the parable of the prodigal son, or the lost son, the parable of the lost son. And in this moment, you had a runaway son who, just broke the heart of his father. He took all his inheritance. He went and spent it on wild living. At the end, when his bankroll was gone, he was paid short money, little bit of money to feed some pigs. And he found himself, he's like, man, I wish I could just eat the pig food. Right? I'm starving. I got nothing. I just want to share food with the pigs. And then it says, Luke nails it. It's like he came to his senses. And you know what that's a highlight of? That indicates grace. He sensed grace. He didn't understand grace completely, because it says when he came to his senses, he's like, I'm starving, but if I went home and my dad just gave me a job, I don't have to be a son, just make me a servant. If I go and get a gig at my dad's place, I'm going to have some food to eat. And so he goes home. He has no clue what to expect from his father. And what he finds is the arms of his father. His father sees him and he runs to him. He embraces him. I don't know if it says it in the Bible, but I'm imagining he's weeping, he's crying, his tears are falling on his son. He's definitely kissing his son. He's embracing his son. He tells his son, you will never be a servant in this home. You will never be a servant in this home. When I live my life based on my faith and how good I think I am at loving God, I could easily be like, all right, God, I only deserve to be a servant. I'm not good enough. I can't cut it. And God's like, there's no servants in my house. You are my son. And you're my son because my beloved son, Jesus, died on the cross for you. And I see you the way I see him. Grace creates conditions so that someone like me can come home. Someone like you can come home to God. And I just don't want anyone to get so caught up in our inability to be good enough that we miss how good God is and what he's doing in rumors of grace. So, let's kick around some discussion questions. Number one, when we read Luke 15, verses 11 to 31, again, that is the parable of the lost son, where do we see themes of grace and where do we see themes of works? So there's a lot there. There's actually another character. There's a lot going on. Let's dig into that. But where do we see grace and where do we see works? Number 2, this is like, let's use our imagination. What might the life of the younger brother look like a year from the day he returned home? Like, what does grace do? How does grace work in our world when we meet it, when we come face to face with it, eye to eye to it? Like, what happens? So what would his life look like? And in our reality, what are the marks of the gospel of Jesus Christ in my world and in your world? Number 3, personal question. What are some actions or attitudes that come into my life when I forget the ordering of salvation by grace through faith? When I think I'm earning things, what attitudes and actions come into play? We want to identify that because they should be good. We think, all right, I'm going to earn the love of God and we might do good things. Man, we do some messed up things when we're trying to earn the love of God. So let's talk about that. Number 4, how can this doctrine of it's all about grace, right? Saved by grace through faith, how can that be dangerous? Because a lot of times this isn't the message we hear. We hear something, do better, act cleaner, talk different, you know? So how can it be dangerous? And how can it be life-giving and also bring holiness? So there's 2 sides to that. And number 5, we got 6 today. Number 5, what practical ways can we encourage each other in the gospel of grace? What does advice sound like to someone struggling to keep that idea in proper order? I've had so many people look in my life and have to counsel me and coach me and pastor me and love me because I think it's all about me. And I need help. And you might have felt some of those same things. Number 6, who is in our life that we want to see at home in the arms of our Heavenly Father? All right, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out. I hope this is a gift. I hope it works in our hearts in deep ways. And I'll catch you soon. Bye for now.